Welcome back to Inside City Hall. On this program, throughout most of this year, we have brought you many stories about how the pandemic has impacted everything from the hunger crisis to homelessness and the economy. And coronavirus has also had an impact on our city's foster care system, which currently has about 8,000 children in its care and allows young people to stay in the system past the age of 18 up to 21 or even longer until they can find stable housing. But as the city faces a massive fiscal crisis, some key support services could be in jeopardy. Joining me now to talk about all of this is Erica Francois. She was formerly in the foster care system. She now serves on the Youth Advisory Board for Fair Futures. That's a coalition of child welfare agencies, nonprofits, and advocacy groups. David Hansel is the commissioner of our city's Administration for Children's Services. Welcome to both of you. Foster care commissioner, of course, is when the city, mostly through contracts with community-based organizations, places kids who need a family setting, including kinship care, residential placements. I wanted to start just by noting that the number of kids in foster care has really dropped over the last 5 years. I think from about nearly 10,000 to closer to 8,000, about a 21% or so decline. That in itself is noteworthy. Why has that number come down?
Well, Errol, thanks so much for having us. And yes, we are very happy and proud about that progress that we've made. You know, our goal is always to keep families together whenever that's safely possible. And so when we are alerted to a possible safety risk for a child in a home and we investigate and we find a concern, our goal is to try to address that risk to a child by providing the kinds of services that a parent needs in order to provide a safe home for that child. And more we've been able to do that. We've been able to keep families successfully together and keep children out of foster care.
Okay, so now at the end of the foster care process, when the child reaches age 18 or age 21, they may not have a job, they may not have a place to stay, they may not have a college to attend, and of course we want to avoid having them go from foster care into, say, the shelter system, which I know has happened far too often over the years. So, Erica Francois, describe what it was like as you were aging out of foster care. What did you need to do, and how did you get it done?
It was very difficult because I didn't have the regular things that people that weren't in care had. I remember that I had to get documents that I never had. I never had my New York State ID at first. I didn't have birth documents, and I needed to transition out of college into the adult world. So I had my coach, who was the best support system that I could have had. And it was weird. I needed help with housing. I didn't have anyone that I could really rely on for that. So she was there for me, and she helped me with applications for housing, with health insurance and things along those lines.
So now with this program, Fair Futures, I mean, like, how nitty gritty does it get? I was thinking about it, and you know, young adults have to learn how to negotiate and sign an apartment lease and how to take care of that apartment and open a bank account and go out and get a job. I mean, the list of things is endless. How does that get done?
Well, take it away, Commissioner.
No, please, Erica, go ahead. Erica, you're the best spokesman for the program.
So for me, I had my caseworker and I had my coach, and I just had Fair Futures there on my side. And there's so many different people that work with Fair Futures. So basically for me, I spoke to my coach and broke down all the things I needed help with. And she gave me resources, and she told me this is how I would take it day by day. And she would talk to me every single day and help me through the process virtually. And even when it wasn't virtually, in person, I would meet up with her as well. All
right. So now, Commissioner, obviously the pandemic and the shift to remote learning would have to also, I guess, involve Fair Futures. Can you teach this stuff on a small screen?
Well, you can. It's challenging. And we know, you know, just as everyone in New York City has been challenged during this very difficult COVID period, all young people have. And young people, including young people in foster care, are dealing with the transition to remote learning. They're dealing with the social isolation that's come with having to be home and not seeing friends and teachers and coaches. And they've had to deal with many losses in their families. And so for kids in foster care who have also experienced the trauma that led them into foster care in the first place, this can be particularly challenging. So we think that Fair Futures really will be a game changer. I'm really delighted that we got this program in place just months before the COVID pandemic really hit New York City. And that means through this program, we now can ensure that every young person in foster care from age 11 through age 21 has a dedicated coach and other services that will really provide them with the support and all of the kind of tangential things they need in order to progress through the stages of school, from school to college, from college to a career, and ultimately to adulthood, with consistent support from dedicated coaches and other resources.
Okay, so that's the good news, and you're speaking in the present tense, and it's always nice to see a government program that's working well. On the other hand, I understand you don't necessarily have funding for next year, and I'm wondering why not. Was this the Office of Management and Budget cutting programs?
No, nothing's been cut. This program is funded for this city fiscal year. This program from the beginning, really a couple of years ago, was a partnership between the de Blasio administration and the city council. And I think everybody appreciates how important and impactful it is. There, of course, will be discussions starting some months from now about next year's city budget. Everyone knows, we all know the city is facing some really significant fiscal challenges. But I think given the widespread support for this program and the perception of how much difference it's making in the lives of young people, I'm confident that this will be front and center once those budget discussions get underway.
Okay, that's good to hear. Of course, the cost of not reaching the goals of Fair Futures is actually very high, right? Whatever it might cost is going to be cheaper than a kid who ends up in jail or a homeless shelter or something like that. So Erica Francois, trust me when I tell you, there are a lot of politicians watching right now. What would you tell the city council, the state legislature, the mayor, and so forth about the need for this program?
Well, I want to say that fairness is at the core of the Fair Futures mission, and it's our name for a reason. It isn't just fair for any young person to be denied a fundamental support system in their lives, and this is not a privilege, it's a necessity. And I know that it was a necessity for me. I wouldn't have been where I am and who I am without my coach by my side and all the support that Fair Futures provided. With just basic things that a parent could help you with, Fair Futures has helped me with.
Okay, that will be the last word. Thanks very much. Best of luck to you, Erica Francois. Commissioner Hansel, thank you for joining us. That is going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you at home for watching, and have a great evening. We'll see you next time inside City Hall.